Hello, can you guys hear me? We'll be starting soon. Okay. Just waiting for a few people to join because it starts at 8:35 and people are still joining. I'm audible, right? Like you can hear me. I'm just waiting for a few minutes. Hello, and thank you so much for joining. Please do subscribe and like if you're new to the channel and you don't know about me. I'll be talking about myself, obviously. Uh, and then we'll start with all your basic questions if you have any regarding the software or the industry or what you feel like doing, or if you are confused about anything, be it hardware, software, or anything as such. So please do drop a comment on the live chat and I'll be reading, and we'll solve it. And then we can obviously start with Houdini. I already did a session yesterday in Hindi and this will be in English. Yes, this is my first live session, and pardon me if I can't act right because I actually don't know. As I said, that I just did a Hindi session yesterday, and it comparatively it is like the first video that I'm doing live. So thank you for joining and understanding that I might do some mistakes because I'm new to this, and I'll be habitual. Let's see. So we do have people here. There's 17 or 18 people. So we can start, I guess. So first of all, before starting with Houdini, I would like to ask you guys, like, do you have any questions or do you have any doubts that you want me to solve or answer that you can't figure out like by yourself? So if there's anything, please put in the chat so I can reply. And hopefully that I'm audible, and I might turn my head like all the three directions, this way, left, right, and above, because I do have three screens, so I have to look at myself, the Houdini screen and the chat screen. So please don't be disturbed by this. I am calling a few people that might have missed, so let me just quickly share my show reel, and then I'll talk about myself. uh, Let me just open up the screen. So before starting, let's discuss about myself, and I'll always like obviously introduce. But before that, I would like to show you my show reel that I have done in my career. So let me hide myself quick, and let me know if you can guys see this. And I'm starting. Hi, I'm back, and this was my showreel, as a FX artist. So coming back to me, I started in FX from the beginning. Uh, I started with 3ds Max when I first joined the industry. It was in 2020, and I worked in 3ds Max for a year or so, and then all of a sudden the industry was like, we want Houdini. So I have self-learned Houdini because I too did some classes, as you all might know, uh, but it didn't quite work well. So I started with Houdini, and then after I got into DNEG, I was working in DNEG for 3.5 years, and I worked on various shows like Shazam and Fast and the Furious, Nyad. The latest would be Devara, and after that I focused on teaching as a teacher. So I'm currently working as an instructor in an institute here in Mumbai, and I'm also teaching online courses and classes for all the beginners or students that want to dive deeper into Houdini and want to learn more about this software. So I do have a session or classes or workshop, anything you can say, which starts from very basics, knowing that you don't know anything about Houdini. So we'll be starting exactly like from the scratch, and then we'll make our way on the top till advanced for topics like RBD, Pyro, and Flip, Particles, Vex, Swap. So I just hope that I make it easier for you and tell you all the stuff that I wish I did know when I was starting out. This might sound cliche, but exactly this is how it works. That when I started, there wasn't many courses or tutorials on Houdini, so we literally had to uh, read through the documents of Houdini to understand how the solver works, or how the typical forces work, right? So when you're starting out, it's very essential that you have a trainer or a mentor, because you obviously can do it on yourself. There are a lot of options, there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of tutorials online, but having a mentor is very essential, right? Because you don't have to wonder what should be the next, what should I do next, right? So it gets easier. So if you guys are interested in knowing more about the software or more about the course, you can definitely text me on WhatsApp after this live. Basically, we will be covering a lot of topics in this free session, but obviously there are a lot more than this, because we won't be able to get in much deeper into this sessions, right? So the session that I do, it's a paid course, it's a 3 or 4 month course, which dives deeper, obviously. So if you guys are interested and want to follow along, so please do text me after this. And this session, this free session, that will be covering a lot of topics like Vex, VOPs, and all the dynamic situations, like what exactly are dynamics, how it works, how RBD works, how Pyro works, and what are the nodes that is needed, the basics of Houdini, attributes, points, because these are the little core structures of Houdini, the attributes and the data types. So it is completely necessary for you to understand how data works and how attributes are transferred or used in Houdini. Because if you don't understand this very basic core concepts, it would be very harder for you to work around, right? Because I myself, being a student, I started in Houdini. I was just blindly following tutorials and were creating, huge shots. But as soon as I closed the tutorial and wanted to do something all by myself, I couldn't do it because the core concepts or the basics of Houdini was not clear to me. I used to just blindly follow the tutorials and do it. And trust me, this is the case with the majority of us. We think we do know stuff, but as soon as we close the tutorial, we are just completely blank. So I don't want you to do this, because it not only does hamper with your confidence, but you actually don't learn like this, right? So basically, through this free workshop or this free class, I assure you that you would be able to work much cleaner in Houdini, and you'll have the all the basics cleared, right? What are attributes, what are points, how simulations work, or how to exactly go around in Houdini. So if you guys any like have any doubts regarding the software, regarding the class, the codes, or hardware, or regarding the industry, we'll just have a 5 to 10 minute session where I'll clear your doubts, and then we can start with Houdini, right? So I'm just waiting for your text if there is any doubts or issues. You can put your questions or doubts in the live chat. I am reading the live chat. I assume no one has a doubt. Which version do you use? Okay, so the version that I'm currently using is Houdini 19 and somewhat 20.5, because 20.5 was not stable, and the stable version for 20.5 was, I guess, 20.5.648 or something. So my tools and the setups that I run or use is actually built on 19. Previously, it was completely on 18.5, and it was very hard for me to switch from 18.5 to 19, because I had to update all my setups, all my tools, all my tasks to 19. So currently, I'm using 19.0.589, because for me that's the most stable version, and it does not crash on me, and like it works super fluid. And other than that, you can also use 20.5, but 20.5, I don't know, I felt it a little heavy, because there were a lot of tools on the SOP level. So sorry, I got distracted by a message. So there were like lot of tools that were on soft level, so it made the software heavy. I don't know, I felt it that way. So I'm using 19 currently. Okay. So you have learned FX in Maya, and it's easy for me to understand Houdini or difficult. So you're asking me, is it difficult or easier if you have learned FX in Maya? So it is actually a very different software. If you ask that I have learned FX in Maya, and then if it's easier for you to switch to Houdini, let me break your bubble. So it is completely different, and it takes a lot of efforts to learn Houdini, because the learning curve for Houdini is literally this steep. I'm not trying to scare you, but it actually takes a lot of time and patience to learn Houdini. But the most essential part is, as I'm saying, as I'm emphasizing on, is attributes and data types. Once you understand how this works and how these are transferred to one node to another, it will be a lot easier for you to understand Houdini and work around in Houdini. And trust me, you will be ahead of the 50% of the people, those who don't understand how this actually works. And this workshop or this free classes are made for such guidance, because I want everyone to understand what exactly is the way to learn Houdini, and how you can actually follow those tips or tricks or methods that are not taught anywhere else. So it will be easier if you just follow along and you stick with the methods that I'm teaching, like the way, the flow that I'll be teaching you. So the basics, as I said, would be attributes and data types. Once you get the hold of it, you will definitely be doing much better in Houdini. But if I circle around your question, if it will be easier, if given that you have done FX in Maya, the only easier part would be that you would understand how dynamics work, like different forces and what kind of simulations there are. But other than that, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for you, because both of them are completely different softwares. You're a modeling artist, you open Houdini interface. Yes, obviously the interface, I don't think so. It is overwhelming, because it is much cleaner than other softwares. If I open Maya, I might get scared because of all the clustered tools there are right in front of my face. So Houdini just looks scary. It is not. We will obviously go through all the tools and all the UI and how to go with Houdini. So it won't scare you then. Hello. Hi, Otaku Anime Official. Hi. So, do you guys have any more doubts, or should we start with the session? Okay, like is it similar to GeoNode in Blender? I actually don't know anything about Blender, so I don't know what you're talking about, but maybe. Okay, cool. Let's start with Houdini. So the first topic that we will discuss today is operators. Okay. So if I tell you just about operators, what are operators? Because it is necessary for you to understand what are operators and what are the different levels. So basically, operators, you can understand it as levels. Okay, the levels in a building or on a floor or something like that. So basically, every level or every operator has their own functioning. Okay, for example, understand as a floor where a family lives, they do some kind of work, for example plumbing. okay, and the other family lives on the second floor. They do, for example, sell vegetables, so something like that, okay. So operators are levels, and I will tell you like what each operators does, because it is uh, necessary for you to understand the operators, right? So let me just share my screen. Mm, I would have to lower my screen, right? So you can see me, but in a smaller window, okay. Houdini is similar to Unreal Engine? No, because Unreal Engine is completely gaming based and it is a lot optimized in sense of gaming. And Houdini is not optimized as gaming because it's not a gaming engine. It's a simulation solver based software, so it's a lot heavier. So Unreal Engine is a different thing because it works for gaming and live setups, or what do you say, the screens, the live screens. I'm forgetting the word. I don't know what was it called. Never mind. So Houdini and Unreal are not similar. Right, so we'll talk about different UI and UX later, but let me go through this operators quickly. The first type of operator that we see is the object level, the OBJ level, okay. So this is the operator level, the object level that you see. Anything that you are gonna import in Houdini, okay, right from lights, camera, or animation, or models, or anything as such, this is gonna be the level that you'll be importing it on, okay. So as you can see, I already do have something here. This is a camera, this is a geo, this is an image. So all of these things are here right on the object level. As you can see, it says object level, right? So this is literally the first level. As you can see, object or OBJ level, okay. In short, if you if it's quite a mouthful for you, object level, you can say OBJ level or object level. So this is where you all like have all the geos, okay. Now what are geos? Let me tell you. Moving on to the second operator, which is called SOP operators, SOP, surface operators, okay. So let's keep this aside and I'll take a new geo. This is a geo, okay. Let's imagine this geo as a box, a box that we all have at our home, and it is stuffed with a lot of different stuff, for example biscuits or chips or rice or wheat, anything as such, okay. So imagine this geo as a box. You can literally have multiple objects or multiple things inside this, okay. If I just double click here and go inside the geonid, you can see it says geometry level. Okay, so don't be confused. Why is it called a geometry level? It is a surface operator, a SOP level. Okay, SOP, surface operator. So once I go inside, this is literally where I will add all the simulation tools, all the animation tools, or all the rigging, hair, fur, whatever I want to do, crowds. Okay, so if I show you, I can add a DOP network here. Let's not focus on the nodes right now, but let's see. I can import a lot of stuff here, right? Attribute warps and pop network, which is for particles, and pyro solver, which is for fire, right? So a lot of stuff that we can add inside the geometry level, and this is called a surface operator, a SOP level, okay? So as I mentioned that this is a box that we all have at like our home. So you can have multiple boxes, right? For example, if I take another geo, you can have another geo, and we can take another one. So you can have multiple and n number of geos that you want, and you can do a lot of stuff inside it. Okay, for example, if I rename this, I'll double click this here, and maybe I create a flip object here, and I create a pyro object here, and this is where I create RBD. Okay, flip is basically a water simulation, pyro is basically a fire simulation, and RBD is basically where you do destruction. Okay, so you can have multiple objects and you can work on multiple things inside it. right? I can have dynamics here for, regarding rigid body, which is RBD, destruction. I can do pyro here, okay? And this in short are called surface operators, SOP, okay? Do you guys have any doubts or should I move ahead? Great. So moving on to the another topic, another operator which is called pop operators, particle operator. If you haven't paid attention, you can see, 1 second, let me just delete all this and come back here. Okay, you can see the similarities here. SOP, POP. Basically, these are called operators. OP. Okay, and the first word has only changed here, like surface and particle. But the other stuff, operators, it's called OP. So you can see SOP means surface operator, POP means particle operator, and so on and so forth. We'll have a lot of operators here. So basically, it's operator, but with a name. Okay. I will answer the doubts in a while because we are currently in the topic. So let's not deviate. I will answer your questions. Okay, Master and bass beats. So coming on to the next one, I'll just rename this to Geo once again. Particle operators. Okay, let me take a particle operator here, which is called pop network. So this is the node which is used for particle dynamics. Okay, the particle simulations. So if I show you this node, this is on geometry level, but if I go inside this, all right, if I go inside this, I will be on dynamics level now. This is a different kind of operator which is called dynamics. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you both of the topics simultaneously. Okay, pop network and dynamic operators. So this itself is a DOP network. Okay, if you can see it's written here top network, but it says pop network because that's the name of the node. Okay, if I take a DOP network, both of these are same. Okay, it's just a lazy way of doing it, and Houdini has provided us with a default node setup here, uh, a cheat code, or basically uh, a default setup. Okay, so these both DOP networks are similar, nothing different, right? Basically, what it means is that when you start with simulations in Houdini, side effects wants you to understand that how simulations work, what are the nodes that is required for simulations. So in this case, pop solver, pop object, pop source, other default operators here, right? And we are in the dynamic level. So if you type pop network, I'll do it again here. So you can see we do have a default set of nodes here, which Houdini tells us do understand what is going on with the simulations and understand what are the nodes that is needed. Okay, so this is just a lazy way of working. It's the same. I can also take a DOP network and add a pop solver here and a pop object here and a pop source here. Okay, so it is nothing different from that. It's just a default way of adding these nodes. Okay, and I can do the similar things here. If I want a pyro solver here to be added in the pop solver, I can also do that. Okay, I'm getting a lot of call right now. So right, so is it clear with you guys for DOP networks and pop networks? Right, so the next one would be warp operators, which is called vector operators, and many of the students are actually very scared of vex and warp. So there's nothing to be scared of because it is easy if you actually understand what it means. So I will actually go through all of these topics in detail as the class moves forward. Okay, but today I will tell you about the differences, basic differences in Vex and Warp and how it actually is read. right? Because most of the time the reason for being scared is that we don't understand how the data is flowing and what data is coming from which part and going to like which output. Okay, so let me just delete all this and I will take a attribute VOP. Okay, this is the node where we are gonna do vector operators, okay, which are also called VOPs, VOP, vector operators. Okay, so basically, why do we need vector operators? Why do we need VOP networks? So as I mentioned that it's all about data, right? It's all about attributes, which are the kind of data, what are the types. So at some point you will have to use either VEX or either VOP. You can do a lot of stuff without all this, but it will only make your work harder and heavier because only node can't support everything. It will be confusing as to what to do now, because what vex and warp does, it does manipulate your data easily in an easy way. So I want you to focus on one, at least one topic, either attributes or sorry, either VOP or either VEX. And for personal reasons I do choose VEX because it's easier, right? As you start working in VOPs, there will be a lot of stuff that you won't understand, like where the data is flowing and how do I connect stuff. But in VEX, it's completely easier because there would be just one or two lines for the same workflow. And I myself was not from a coding background, but I did learn like coding and all the languages that is needed to work in Houdini because I actually wanted to do something other than maths or science, but I did come here to the industry, and it makes me feel like that you should, because it actually does make my work easier. So I want you to understand C, C++ if you want to work in Houdini with VOPs and VEX. And trust me, I will go through these topics so you are not overwhelmed with all this VOP and VEX stuff. But I want you to understand that it is your friend, it's not your enemy, and it's not harder. It's only you that makes it, think that it's harder because you don't understand the topic. But once you get the grasp of it, it will be easier for you. Trust me. Okay. So basically what VOP means is manipulating the data. So all you have to understand is this is the data that comes from any place. Okay. This is the input, basically. Input of what? All the data that is flowing from here, from the outside world. Let's imagine it as that way. For example, if I add a sphere here, okay, there are a lot of data here, position and all these numbers which are very scary, but those are not. So this is a kind of data that is flowing through the node. Okay, and if I want to manipulate that data, for example, this is a sphere. I'll hide all of this stuff and we'll see this is a sphere which is on 0. Okay, and if I go inside this warp and I will do some magic here. So let's not focus on this, we'll talk about this. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding something onto it. I will say that I want to move this sphere 1 meter above. Okay, and I'll put 1 year. So you can see I have manipulated the data, right? I only had this sphere here. If I see, okay, this is the sphere that I had, which is on 0 0 0. And what I did was I manipulated the data. I said that I want to move it on meter 1, right? So this is exactly how WOP works. There's nothing more to it. You take a data which is available to you and you manipulate the data and you say, okay, this data has been manipulated, and you give back the updated data to the original position. Okay, so basically what I did was I did 0 plus 1, right? So what it did was it put my sphere onto meter 1 because this is where I put 1. If I did put 2 here, it would be 2 meters above, right? And then 3 meters above, and so on and so forth, right? So this is literally how WOP works. There is nothing more. We'll obviously go through all these topics in depth in the later classes, but for now, this is the literal definition of WOPs, right? Moving back to the topic, let me hide all this and let's come to the next one, which is called render operators. Okay, in short, it's called ROP, ROP. And render operators are place where you can put your renders. Okay, the nodes which are required for rendering, the render engines. For example, in Houdini, there's a default renderer which is called Mantra. And how do we go on the out network, on the ROP network? It will be that I would uh, long press on the object here. If you can see the object, left click it. Okay, and there's a out network. You can't see it because I'm not sharing the screen that way, but if you long press on object here, you can go to the out network. Okay, and this is the out network. You can see it's called outputs. And if I press tab and type mantra, this is, you can add the mantra node. Okay, this is the default render engine for Houdini. The other default render engine is Karma, which is the latest renderer, but it is on a completely different context, completely different level. Okay, and we won't be going through that right now, but the default one is Mantra. And so if you know about other different renderers like Octane or Arnold or V-Ray or Redshift, so this is the place that you will be putting all your render engines, okay, on the output level, right? So basically this is where we put the renders, and there are obviously a lot of stuff that goes before rendering, but this is the place that you can renders. Okay, coming back to the object level, to the next topic, which is called composite operator, also known as COP network. So again, if I long press on object level, I can go to the image network IMG. Okay, it's not visible on the screen or on the live session because my screen is not like sharing all those little icons. But if you press it on the object level on your Houdini, you will see the IMG. And as soon as I press IMG, you can see it says compositing network now. So I'm on the composition level. If you don't know, Houdini can also composite like on a very good scale. Not obviously as compared to Nuke, because Nuke is a compositing software and it is the industry standard. But to one extent, you can also comp your FX renders or any renders that you do in Houdini itself. Okay. So similar to Geo, we can also have an image network here. This is an image network, and obviously I can have a lot of image networks and I can do compositions here, right? So this is where you can do your compositing. And coming back to the next topic, it's called channel operators. It's not completely related to Houdini FX because it's more inclined towards motion FX, right? If I again long press on the object level, I can go to the channel level, the first level, which is called CH, and you can see it says motion FX networks, right? So this is something related to noises or animations or transformations which you can certainly use for motion effects. Okay, and we as a FX artist don't use this other than somewhat for transformations or animations. We want some kind of noise, sine, cos functions or something like that, like in a zigzag pattern or in a pendulum pattern. So I can actually do some simulations there. If I show you an example, I am taking a sphere here. Let me hide all the other stuff. Okay, and this is sphere, and on the center, because this makes my sphere move, I will right click on this. I don't know if you can see the right click, but if I go to expressions, no, if I go to motion effects, you can see a lot of defaults: cycle, cycle offset, lag, limit, noise. So for example, if I do spring, it's not working right now because I don't know why it's not working. Did it work? No, it did not. Why? I don't know. Maybe I don't have that much frames here. Let me approach the frames. Maybe use something else. Let me check. I'll add a transform here and we'll go to translation, motion effects, and cycle. Why is it not working? Should work. Yeah, did a wave now, so it's working. If you can see, it's working in a wave function. Okay, so like you can use it for this, but as a FX artist, we don't use this as much. Right, coming back to the topic. Vector expressions operators which are also called vex. So if you don't know about vex, it's a coding language for Houdini, and it is loosely based on C or C++. If you are interested in coding, you should learn C or C++, right? So the only node that is used for coding is this attribute wrangle. Okay, this is where we put all the codes and we write all the codes. The only difference between WOP and VEX is that WOP is a visual representation of the codes. Okay, basically you can connect the nodes, but you can't see the data, the code that is run behind those nodes. Okay, so basically those are also VEX. If I show it to you again, I will add a attribute WOP here, and if I go inside this context, you can see it says VEX builder, right? So basically this is also a vex level, but you can see it as a node, right? And if you know actually coding and you can code better, so definitely it will be a lot easier for you to work in Houdini, because there are a lot of advantages over warps or over nodes, because code as said is literally a single line that you want to, for example, move it or add a noise or do some sign functions or matrices or anything like that. So it makes a work very easier. So if you are interested and want to work faster and have a leverage from all the other people, so you can definitely start learning attribute vex, right? And the next topic is shading operators, which actually is not used right now in industry. Okay, so the shop network is where all the shaders are created. Shaders as in this is also a coding place. Basically, if you don't know about the history of Houdini, it has been since like 1998, so it's that old, and it wasn't this user friendly before. So everything has to be done into coding or connections and everything. So for example, shading, texturing, lighting. If I show it to your uh, material shader builder, and this is how the lighting and computations would have been done if you used Houdini in 2000s or 2006 or something like that. But later they created Houdini as a user-friendly software, so we don't need this level right now, but it still exists because obviously there will be a lot of people, a lot of companies that have created all the setups or textures or lighting on this shop level, so they have kept it as it is. But for now, for like today, if you start Houdini, you can use this Mac network, material network, where it is very easier to put materials. I just create a principal shader, and not the principal shader core, principal shaders. And you can see I can literally connect all the textures here: metallic, reflectivity, coat, transparency, base colors, normals, and bumps. Okay, so it is easier to do materials today. So this is where you will create all your materials, right? So shop is not needed now, so you don't have to do it. The next would be task operators. Top, basically this is for automations. For example, if you have 5 explosions and you want to have different noises, different positions, so what you can do is you can automate the task. You can ask Houdini that I do have 5 explosions and I want you to create 5 explosions. Okay, I want you to create 5 explosions on different places and I want to have different noises. So for example, if I start working at 8 p.m. today, I don't have to wait all night for the explosions or for the simulations to get over. I can automate it. I can say that these are the 5 explosions, please do all the simulations, all the caching, all the rendering, all the compositing. So Houdini will prepare all your data uh, when you wake up. So it is crazy, but it is not easy as it sounds, that you can just put in values and you can automate tasks obviously, but this can be done, right? It makes your life very easier for simulations obviously. And the last topic would be LOPS, lighting operator, which are the latest additions to Houdini after, I guess, Houdini 19, when Karma was in beta. So this is the new Solaris pipeline, okay, the USD pipeline, the Karma pipeline that you might have heard in the industry. So USD is basically a format, for example, like a FBX or LMBX or OBJs. So USD is completely accepted around all the softwares. So Houdini does have a pipeline which is called Solaris pipeline. It is the USD pipeline, pipeline which means a basic way of working. Okay, so this is the latest edition, and obviously it's the stage network. If I again press on object and go to stage, this is the stage network where I can render from Karma. Okay, Karma is the latest edition. It is a GPU plus CPU based renderers. So if you have a good GPU or good CPU, you can obviously use renders on Karma. It is faster. And yeah, that is it. Like the latest rendering operators, Karma is the latest addition to Houdini, but it is still not stable. And hopefully, if Houdini 21 comes out like today, tomorrow, or in the later weeks, so maybe they have fixed a lot of stuff that was not fixed or lagging previously. So let's hope that they do bring a lot of tools or developments in the next software update. So like this was the topic for today. Okay, and as you might know that I do run courses if you are interested more to learn Houdini, and I do have an upcoming RBD course that you might have seen in the trailer when this video or this live session started for you. Okay, if you don't know about it, let me just show it to you if possible. Let me just change the screen. Right. This is for the people who are interested in learning RBD. So let's just run the trailer and then we can discuss about this. Right, so this was for complete RBD. Okay, so you don't have to be very advanced or knowing Houdini because we will start from scratch if you're interested in RBD. It is a beginner to advanced session. It's a paid workshop. Obviously, it's a 1.5 2 month session, and you can definitely enroll on this because it is gonna be starting by the end of August or September. So basically what we do is that we'll go from the very scratch, like what is RBD, how the fractures are done, and how the different types of constraints work, and what exactly is needed to make RBD optimized. RBD basically means destruction. So if you know a little bit about RBD or destruction, you know that there is a lot of struggle when you find a model that you want to destruct, but it is not a destruction ready uh, setup. It is not a destruction ready model. You'll have to prepare it for destruction, and it takes a lot of task, and it is obviously tedious, and you don't know exactly what to do and how to do it, right? So all of this issues or problems that we face in the industry or in the working of RBD. It's where I clear all of these doubts in the session, in the course, in the workshop. So if you guys are interested and want to know about RBD from the scratch, and then we take that information or take that knowledge to build us like something like this that I've shown. Obviously not the same showreel that I've shown, because it is something that I made. I will help you choose different models and different destruction topics or different fractures, so you can actually model your own setups or use something from Kit Bash or uh, another models or buildings that you want to fracture, and we can fracture that. And obviously it's a very worthy showreel ready stuff that you know what exactly goes behind working in RBD, and definitely you can break any building that you want or any mountain that you want. So a total complete destruction. So coming back to the topics, you are a BSc in animation VFX. You can text me on WhatsApp, base beats, because I won't be answering this personal question here. So because this is something related to you, so you can text me on WhatsApp and then we can discuss it there. How do we know which node to use in certain situations? Is there a place to search for nodes? The place to search for nodes is side effects website. I will show you in the workshop how to actually think logically behind what nodes to add, and in case you forget what node does what work and which node to use, how you can find out like what exactly the node does. This is something that uh, is an issue. So we will be covering this topic, so don't worry about that, like what node does what work. We will discuss about that, right? So do you guys have any doubts? WhatsApp number, there's in the description of this video also. There's a WhatsApp group if you can join, and definitely my number also. Okay. So if you guys don't have any doubt, please do like and subscribe. And if you're interested in the course or learning Houdini in RBD or from the scratch, you can definitely contact me on WhatsApp after this live. And please do like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next session, which is day after tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining. And please take care and bye bye.